I was sitting late at night and I came across this video of a psychologist interviewing Andrew Tate, and I was instantly intrigued because I'm a psychiatrist myself. So I started watching the video thinking that I'll watch a little, but the video did not disappoint. So I ended up watching the entire video in one setting, and I am today presenting to you my reaction on responses of both Tate and the psychologist. Let's get started.
Absolutely. We're all programmed to some degree. I agree with you on this so far. I don't think anybody can escape programming, whether it's society, whether it's a television show, whether it's the people around you, peer pressure, whether it's a religion. We're all programmed to some degree. That's absolutely not really true.
So I agree with him 100% that we are programmed by society, by news, by social media, by you watching everything. We are programmed through that, and it's in your power. Who do you give control to program your mind? Do you give that control to Andrew Tate, or do you give that control to any other influencer? Whatever you put in your mind, it does shape our reality. So just be very careful what you watch.
I psychoanalyze myself all the time, which is one of the main reasons I don't believe in therapy and psychoanalysis.
Psychoanalyze yourself.
Of course you can.
You cannot psychoanalyze yourself. And when we are analyzing ourselves, usually we are analyzing our logical mind, but everything goes in our subconscious mind. So most of our drives and intuitions and intentions come from our subconscious mind, not from our conscious mind. So that's why you cannot just psychoanalyze yourself, because it is going to your subconscious mind. The only way to reach your subconscious mind is obviously through meditation, through journaling, writing your dreams. These are some of the methods you can reach your subconscious mind. There are other methods like breath work, hypnotherapy, a lot of other things you can do to get to your subconscious mind, but you cannot go to your subconscious mind through your logical mind or through logic.
It's a temporary state of mind, which I can alter and I can affect. And I've never struggled with long-term depression or long-term negative thoughts because I don't believe in that mental model.
He is someone who will always see glass half full. He's very optimistic and resilient, and that's why he is the way he is. I understand where he's coming from. I get it, and a lot of people have that stance, but you cannot have a stance on something when you are not an expert on it. He is an influencer, and what he's doing is very damaging to a lot of people who actually do suffer from depression. And there's a misconception that depression is not real, and why the misconception is out there is because people think sadness and temporary situational depression is similar to major depression or clinical depression. And also, if you have a major depressive disorder, there are different categories of it. It can be mild, it can be moderate, and it can be severe. Let's listen more.
Some form of depression or depressive feelings and sadness in prison. What were the thoughts that were coming up? What was happening?
Well, there's a lot of uncertainty, which is the first thing
That has to be scary.
It is scary. It's scary.
This is so great. I actually really applaud Tate for this, because he is, throughout the interview, you can see him being very open, and he is being vulnerable, he is being honest. So he could have said, no, I was absolutely not scared, because he has made some very outrageous statements, but it's great that he is being honest and he is sharing that he was scared.
I think you have two choices as a man. Often when bad things happen, I feel like you can maybe get depressed and sad about it, but the other outlet's usually anger.
In our society, the only negative emotion that is accepted from a man is anger, which is very unfortunate.
I wouldn't say I was angry, but if I started to feel negative, I could turn it into frustration or anger, which I could at least alleviate with 2,000 push-ups. Right. It's better than feeling sorry for myself. Right.
So here, Andrew Tate share a very effective coping skill that should be used by a lot of people, and that is being used by a lot of people, where we can turn our anger and frustration to motivation. And we can use it to our own advantage. You can see people going to gym and using their heartbreak or something that has been bothering them, using it as a motivation to work out even more effectively.
I don't think anger is a necessarily bad thing. I think that misdirected anger is a bad thing.
I completely agree. And there's nothing wrong with anger. Like, we can all get angry. It's how you process your anger, whether you act out violently or whether you're going to process it in a more healthy way, like going to a gym or in sports.
Surely you should like my worldview. If depression's so terrible and it's destroyed your entire existence, you should be listening to me tell you it's not real. But instead they're defending it and sticking up for it, which I find very interesting.
I really don't know why he has such a limiting belief or a negative mindset for depression. First of all, depression is very real, okay? So if there's a cat sitting in front of you and you close your eyes, the cat is not going to go away. You can say cat is not real, but no matter how much you avoid it, the cat will stay there. Just like that, depression is here, not for centuries, for like gazillion years, like forever. It has been named melancholy in the past. It has been named like possession by demons in much paster times. So I can make a separate video on history of depression. So if something is real, it stays. Depression is very real, but on the same hand, depression is one of the most treatable disorders. So I just don't agree with when he says these kind of things. Yeah, there is a subtype of depression that is very difficult to treat, but in majority of cases, depression is very treatable. Mild to moderate depression can just be treated by lifestyle modifications. But when depression becomes moderate to severe, it's very difficult to just shake it with lifestyle modification. There's help out there. Why would you suffer? You can get over that episode of depression with some help, and then you can manage your depression in future with better life choices, lifestyle modifications. So depression is very treatable, one of the most treatable disorders. So if you have depression, doesn't mean that your life is over.
Depression is not real. Everything I say is true.
And that is so sad. I don't see anyone like a big influencer like him saying diabetes is not real. Why it's always depression that it's not real? Just because you can't see something and it becomes not real, just because you haven't experienced it, does it make it become unreal? I've seen like people really suffering from depression, but again, it is very treatable. Him saying, I think it's very damaging that he is making these kind of statements. And I apologize for all those Andrew Tate's fans who just like agree with every single thing he's saying. That is definitely not a good mindset. It's just like you tell a person with diabetes or high blood pressure that I do not have diabetes, I do not have high blood pressure, I'm not going to get affected by it. It's not going to do anything. It's just like depression. So with diabetes, high blood pressure too, lifestyle modification can help a lot of cases, especially if it's diabetes type 2. If you lose your weight, if you start working out, if you make healthy choices in your food, you may not even need medications or anything. Your diabetes type 2 can get cured. Same with high blood pressure. It's same with a lot of conditions, and the same is true for depression. But depression is treatable, okay? So it doesn't mean that if you have depression, your life is over and you cannot do anything. I've seen some very highly competent people, doctors, lawyers, doing some great things, but they have depression and they've learned how to manage and control depression. They are not controlled by depression. Depression is not something that defines them. Just because you don't like something, you cannot make the statement that that's not real.
Maybe it's just a semantics trip. And by saying that alone, I understand that it's a temporary state of mind, which I can alter and I can affect. And I've never struggled with long-term depression or long-term negative thoughts.
Again, if you have like obviously in depression, negative thoughts become part of it, but there are a lot of things you can do to understand your negative thoughts and overcome them. And I would recommend one of my video.
I heard you say in one interview that you have nightmares.
I do have nightmares, yeah.
What are your nightmares about?
I don't think they're about anything. I just have like almost like an adrenaline rush out of nowhere while I'm sleeping, and I shoot up.
I'm really glad he's opening up to all these things, and he's being very honest that he's having nightmares, and most nightmares are because of fears. Actually, a lot of our dreams are based on fears, what we want, our everyday lives. Actually, later on, one of the part of the interview, he did mention that he may have fear of being locked up again. And that's very genuine fear, because he said when he came out of jail, then he started having those nightmares.
I didn't think, why? I didn't think, why is this happening? I didn't think, why me? I didn't think, oh, this is unfair. Like none of these things cross my mind.
Again, it's great. Like he has a great mindset. He didn't go in that victim mindset when people, anything bad happened to them, start saying, why it happened to me, start blaming themselves, start blaming other people. So what his mindset has been is that he just accepted the reality as it is, and then try to come up with plans or ideas on how to overcome that reality or how to come out of that situation. So that's a very healthy, mature mindset to practice when someone is in a negative, unforeseen situation that they have no control over.
And yes, I can't sleep and I miss my family and this is what's supposed to happen to me and this is how I become the best man I can possibly be and I'm going to succeed regardless.
Yeah, that's what he is. His logical mind is like this. So he just rationalized everything. I think it will be very good and very pleasant to see him enter a little bit into his subconscious mind. But whatever he said is right. Like when we go through a negative situation, what he does is what we all should do is that accept it. I'm going to suffer. So if I'm in a negative situation, accept it fully that that's my current reality. I'm suffering. I'm sad, but it will pass. These feelings are not permanent. And what can I now do to get out of it? Instead of blaming government, police, my mom, my dad, or myself. I really like that's a very healthy mindset. So I'm not completely in favor of what he's saying here, but it's just like he mixed things up. Like clinical depression is different. Okay, so this is the best part.
I think the only thing better than having everything you want is not wanting anything.
It's perfect. It's actually so true. He says these great things and he's very intelligent. It is true. Like that's the ultimate power is not wanting anything.
Most people want a supercar. I have 40. But there's that unique 0.1% of people who genuinely don't want one. And I think that's more freeing than having everything you want.
I really applaud him for saying that. It's just like such a good statement that he just made.
But I think emotional vulnerability, nearly at every form, at every level, is basically a form of manipulation.
And I'll say that Andrew Tate has dichotomous thinking, or it is also called black and white thinking. So he look at everything as good or bad. There's nothing in between. So if someone is being emotionally vulnerable, he always look at it as a manipulative act. However, some people do it as an act of manipulation, both men and women. But sometimes some people are being very genuine also when they are being emotionally vulnerable.
You're trying to control the conversation on some level.
Of course.
But what if you gave that up?
Well, okay.
Give it up. Give it up.
I'm trying. I'm trying to be as vulnerable as possible.
And I do agree. I think he's really trying and he's doing great.
But like just the idea of it, right? Like what would happen if?
Let's do it. I'm trying my very best. Old habits die hard.
But don't worry about the result. Just ask yourself the question, like what would happen if you let go of trying to control everything? Just feel into what that would feel like.
But that goes back to the point about what vulnerability is.
He dodged the question again. So whenever something is difficult, he's dodging it. And I'm pretty sure he's not doing it intentionally, he's doing it unintentionally. But I bet if he dig deeper and if he think about it, what will happen if he gives away all control and power? And the feeling he will get is like he's freaking out or anxiety or overwhelming feeling, and he just don't want to face those feelings, and that's why he's dodging that question. But the psychologist is fully aware of what's going on, and that's why he's digging into this. And the psychologist is doing an excellent job. It was an excellent interview when he is giving Andrew Tate space when things get too much for him and he's dodging it. He's not confronting him during those times, but at times when he thinks he's open, he is confronting him about certain things. So let's see one other confrontation that the psychologist did, and I think it is the highlight of this session.
I would not allow them to because I believe it is my lesson and it's my pain and my trauma and it's mine to deal with.
Now I'm getting it. The reason he doesn't like to go to therapy or get help with a therapist is his fear that if he does that, they are going to take over his mind and they are going to control his mind, and he has to give over control. which is not true at all. A therapist is just going to assist him with getting deeper into his psyche or into his subconscious mind. That's all. He's not going to give up control.
Aren't we more connected in some way? Isn't there more possibility to get to something deeper or something more truthful there when your mind is not constantly running?
But I haven't lied to you.
I'm not saying you've lied to me. I'm not saying you've lied to me. I just said there's other levels, there's other layers.
Yeah, again, it is white or black thinking that no one is saying he lied to him. But whenever you are truly present with the other person, the quality of connection skyrockets too. And connection is what makes us human beings so much more stronger, powerful, and at peace. In the end, I want to say that Andrew Tate has taken a very positive step in the right direction after bashing therapy and therapists for a long time. He is opening up to the idea of talking to a therapist, and I'm pretty sure he learned things about himself. I learned a lot more things about him after watching this session. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments, please put them down in the comment section. And also, if you like my videos and if you want to stay up to date with intriguing mental health topics, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.